Welcome to the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast, where art and wellness collide. I'm your host, Ashley, and I am so excited to connect with you today. Now, let's jump into today's episode, ready to rock and with an open heart. Well, hi, and welcome back to the Healthy Metal Hippie. Today, we are here with Dave Spivak from DSP. We're so happy to be here, that you're here today. Honestly, it's crazy. We were just talking before we started recording. We met like a decade ago through a mutual friend, and we went to see John Fogerty all as a group.
Oh, that's right.
And it was one of the best nights ever. And all the hilarity that ensued after.
Oh, yeah. And that was a great start of the show. I remember they had like a silkscreen kind of silhouette where they showed CCR from the old days. Do you remember that? And then the screen came up and then they just started playing and he was like an older gent, It was very, very cool. I remember just my hair standing up, I thought that was amazing.
I know. I cried like so many times through that show. Ooh, how embarrassing.
Right.
But not because, I cry at a lot of shows, let's be real. So it's a good thing because music is emotional, right?
Yes.
So do you want to tell us just a little bit about the band? Tell us about,
Yeah, sure. The band has evolved over time. I started releasing music back in about 2014. I always was a guy that was in the basement, doing my thing or at parties. I would say, hey, what do you think of this song? And I always had this encouragement to put it out there. And I guess just with the advancement of the Spotify and iTunes thing and everything, it was like, okay, let's get this out. So right now, it's like my favorite people are in this band. Some of them have been there since the beginning. So I have Ryan Ahoff on drums, who it's funny, we played a show in Winnipeg on Saturday night, and he's been in so many local Winnipeg bands over the past 25 years that he said, I said, well, leave me a list. Because when I introduced the band, we have this intro and I kind of introduced everybody. I can say Ryan, who played in blah, 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 blah. But I said, make sure the list is big because I'm like half blind with the reading. So that was fun. Anyways, it was amazing how many bands he's been in. But really the biggest thing is he was the drummer of the Watchmen, the Canadian rock and roll band. He was the drummer of Annihilator, the Canadian heavy metal band. He's one of the best rock and roll drummers in the country for certain. And I've known him since, like grade 9 or something. We've been very good friends. So he's always been a part since the beginning. And now his partner, wife, Tanis, is our bass player, which is just so much fun. She's like a super hilarious person, and we just laugh a lot on stage and have so much fun together. And she started off about maybe 4 or 5 years ago with it, and she's a monster. Like, we're just so excited about how advanced she's become and such a showman, and she's just super cool to hang out with. There's a real alchemy of the band. And then I'll try to tell this story as short as I can because I did a couple interviews 2 weeks ago where it went on a little too long, I think. But I met this guy named Greg King. And he's from Davenport, Iowa, okay, far away from Calgary, Canada, where I live. And I'd advertised an old amplifier from Gibson 5 years ago that I was going to sell. I had the thing since I was in my 20s. It meant something to me, but it sucked. I never liked it, but it meant something to me. It's weird to explain, but I've had this feeling with it. It was more of a clean amp than what I was looking for at the time. And he came in off an ad, and he ended up buying it. And he saw a show poster in my house, and then he went and emailed me back. He said, "Hey, I hope you don't mind, but I listened to one of your songs that was on iTunes, and I played lead guitar over it, and on Pro Tools." I sent it back to you. And I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, this guy's a monster. Like, it was really, really great. So we just became really fast friends. And I also found out he only lives 6 blocks away from me. So he does all my producing, all my recording. We get together and put music out all the time. And he was in a band called the Daily Planet in 1981. He's about 15 years older than us.
Right.
And they opened up for Toto on a world tour. It was like, oh my God. So you're just finding all these people. And yeah, it was super cool. So I just find like I found the right people, the alchemy, like I say, that's so important. I mean, it's just as big as the music, right? Is having fun and not having drama. Everybody has a goal to be the best they can and also just have a shit great time, which is such a big
Yes.
part of it, right?
I think
Yeah.
it's funny because I think in some ways it's almost more important than the music, because I'm going to tell you a secret, and please don't come for me. Not you, but I mean anybody listening.
Right.
I
This is a good
was,
place to tell a secret.
yes, in the public. I went to see Fleetwood Mac, and it was like the worst show I've ever seen. And
Right.
actually, I don't know. It would have probably been the last time they were in Calgary. So what was that? 2013, probably. Um,
Right.
Either way, worst show ever, because it just seemed like everybody was doing their own thing. They weren't playing with each
Yeah.
other. Like, obviously, incredible musicians, but they weren't playing with each other.
Right.
It was like each one of them had a little solo spot. And it was truly, it was the worst show of my life. And like, I've been to a lot of shows, right? Like, and it was disappointing.
Right.
So when you're in a band and you find those people that you can gel with and have like great everything, times on stage and
Yeah.
off stage, then you have something special. You have something magical. And even if maybe the playing's not as tight as it should be one day, it's fine because you're all together and
Right.
everybody can feel that energy too.
Yeah. You don't want to just go through the motions and you have to deal with so much stuff. I mean, there's so much anxiety or whatever involved in all these shows all the time. And then you have to deal with the stage sound. Sometimes, it's great. Sometimes it's like somebody put a blanket over the monitors, but you still have to just try to your best to have fun and show that because the best feedback we ever get is that, oh my God, we enjoyed you so much because you guys are smiling, because you're having fun. I could be the tortured artist. I tried to do that for 10 years. My music's tortured for sure, but it's really not who I am anyway. On stage, I want to smile. I want to have fun. I want to, rock out with my friends. Right. And that's a big part of it. But Fleetwood Mac, that story, I mean, I think a lot of bigger bands might end up gravitating to that. It's like, okay, we're playing a show and, it's hard, right? It's hard to pick yourself up and to be mentally ready for everything. Although I
Yes.
would not be complaining if I was in that band.
No, of course. And I mean, okay, there's obviously a lot of turmoil. There was there at that time anyway,
That's true. Yeah.
throughout the band.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's fair enough. But if we're just going to look, um, you know, objectively at it, then yeah, it was it was enjoyable, but not because I was like,
Yeah.
what am I even watching? And so, and I
Right.
do love
Right.
Fleetwood Mac.
We
Please
have,
don't take that wrong. God,
yeah. Yeah.
this is going to be the death
I
of
know, of
me.
course.
I
They had
now I
Bruce
saw.
Springsteen in Winnipeg.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I was just going to say they had Springsteen was in Winnipeg the other night, and I saw a great video. And there's a typical example of somebody that's out there in the crowd. He's having fun. He's always having fun, right? And that goes a
Yes,
long way for sure. So, and it's
we
entertaining for people.
we saw him in the summer at Wembley, and oh my God, that was the first time I've seen him. And yeah,
Yeah.
it was incredible. But that's it. The whole he melds with the audience, melds with his band, and you're just like, oh, it's perfect. It's
Yeah.
perfect. You know.
Yeah. It's all about having a good time, right? It's a great thing. Yeah.
We saw Stevie Nicks this summer too, by herself, and she
Hmm.
was amazing,
Hmm.
absolutely incredible. So
Yeah.
you know,
I went to her I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame about 5 years ago where she got inducted as a solo artist.
right?
And that was pretty amazing to be there and just see that and see like Don Henley came up and on stage with her and everybody. It was really cool.
That that would be really cool. And you were there.
It was pretty neat. I was there. Yeah.
Maybe one day that'll
Yeah.
be you being inducted.
Yeah. Yeah, I would not accept it. I'm not about those type of awards.
You, well, I mean, okay, we might have to do another episode on that, all that whole thing,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's interesting. It's very interesting. Oh, so we were talking about your music, and you say that you are very tortured within your songs. And knowing you, I know you're very lovely and very happy and just a wonderful person. You don't come off
Right.
tortured outside of it. So is that like your
Well,
therapy method?
I guess so. I think it is. I mean, I've always written, emotional songs that like often write themselves, not to sound pretentious, but it does happen to me that way. I think I'm channeling something, which is scary too. It's very risky because sometimes I manifest the song that I wrote that I didn't understand, I become, and it's not always a great thing. But it's a creative thing, and I love that mostly. I've been writing, I put out 4 singles last year. I have more coming that I kind of look at just the way the world is now, too. Like, I think we're all a little bit fed up with the political environment, with just the stress, the anxiety, the insomnia. I got a song that the Winnipeg Jets NHL hockey team are using when there's fights and stuff that happen on the ice called "Got Too Pushed." Like you're just
Yeah.
getting too pushed. Everything just is too much. Whatever that means to anybody, right? You can take it any way you are. But I am finding that when I let my subconscious go or take over, it is a lot of, I got a song "Take Me Home" going back in time. I mean, I'm 52 years old now, and I remember loving Neil Young and Crazy Horse when he was 50 or 51. I think they came to Winnipeg for the Broken Arrow tour, or it was maybe Ragged Glory, and it was just all about going back, like the hell with this new world, right? And now it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's a catch 22. The internet's an important thing, but pre-internet, I remember going to Pearl Jam in Gimli, Manitoba in '93. There was like 75,000 people. I went with 10 of my best friends. We lost each other right away. I ended up with like 4 people. They ended up with blah blah whatever, and nobody found out anything for 10 days. Right? There was no phones. There
Right.
was nothing. It was like, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I turned right. You turned left, and we talked 10 days later. It was cool, in a way.
Yes. No, I
Yeah,
totally get that. I would have liked to see them then. I think I first saw them in, I don't know, I want to say 2004, maybe.
yeah,
But holy shit,
yeah.
seeing them
That
in the
that's actually
90s would have
that.
been crazy. But
Oh, that shows up on YouTube. There was a local television station in Manitoba that filmed it, and
mm,
it's up, and it's crazy to see like everybody just the crowd, the amount of people and the energy of that band, and they were not a household name back then. It was like I remember Eddie Vedder came on the mic. Jeremy, that song was not just
yeah,
hit #1 maybe 6 weeks earlier, and he
right.
said, he goes, well, you'll never see us here again. That's what he said. And it was like, it was in the middle of like a forest area in Manitoba, like a lake area where it would be odd if they ever came back there, actually. And I think maybe the
Yeah.
hip might have played earlier in that day or whatever, but this was a big thing. This was like Pearl Jam just taking off to stardom and having a
Yeah.
booking in Gimli, Manitoba. Crazy.
Just of all places.
Right, right. Mosquitoes.
Like, yes. Actually, I'm not going to lie, and I'm really sorry. I've never been to Manitoba, but
Yeah, well,
maybe one day. Maybe one day.
yeah, it has an energy. It has an energy. It's surrounded by the lakes. It's got the forest. It's got the
Yeah.
coldest winters, but there is an energy and there's a real great underground, especially, well, there's always been a great music scene with the Guess Who and Neil Young and all those
Yes.
guys from there, but Crash Test Dummies, but it also has like a real underground scene that I'm not
Yeah.
seeing in other Canadian cities as much, where even my bass player Tanis was from like a kind of a theater ad lib group called the Absurds, and and she's connected with all the whole art world. We have friends that are painters, and it's really something actually when you go there, and they could care less about really being on social media or any of this world that you kind of have to live in when you're trying to sell your songs. You got to be on TikTok showing how to make a good Canadian Caesar, or I'm making some food and then here's my song or whatever. It's a weird world, and they're all just such true artists, and I love that, right? In
Yeah.
the perfect world, I wouldn't even be putting out the music. You know,
Oh, well, I mean, personally, I'm glad that
that's
you
not true.
are, but why do
Thank
you
you.
think it is though? Like, okay, I mean, yeah, I'm a little bit younger than you, but even when I was a teenager, I don't know, like 20 years ago, whatever, it wasn't like the scene in Calgary was pretty decent, at least like in the punk and hardcore
Yeah.
scene. It was pretty decent. And
Yes, very much so.
I
Yeah.
feel like it did. It's kind of died. I mean, there's a few staple
Yeah.
great venues, but I feel like it's just, and maybe I'm just out of touch in Calgary, but I think
I
there's
think punk is
venues that are
still,
trying to like keep it alive, but it's tough there.
yeah. Oh, for sure there is. For sure there is. I mean, the punk's still very alive, but it's more on the underground side, which that's the perfect place for it.
Yeah,
Calgary's kind of considered the Nashville of the North these days. There's a heck of a lot of country-ish John Prine style singer-songwriters that are out there that are playing.
right.
There is some, good venues for sure, with the Ship and Anchor being one, which I think
Yes.
is just a fantastic thing when they do their Saturday showcase, um, and including
Staple.
like Mikey's with it, yeah,
Yeah, Mikey's
yeah,
juke
absolutely,
joint, right? Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Well, yeah, for sure. And they just got a new location. They moved to Bowness, so
oh,
it's really exciting. They just keep bringing in bands and bringing in artists, and it's really cool. So it's a pretty good scene. I don't know if it's as underground as Winnipeg, but I don't think anything is. Like it's a different thing there.
but yeah, yeah, that's true. And I also think too, even the underground, if we go back to social media, even the underground is getting ripped above ground because
Oh yeah,
everything's out
yeah,
there
right,
and socials all over the place,
right,
right? I
yeah.
I
It's so
think
true.
when I moved here and then like just being in London and being involved with the music scene, it blows my mind how alive and well and fabulous it is. Um,
Right,
I think it's so different here because I think there is such a higher level of arts appreciation in this country, and I am living for it. It is the nicest thing to see. Where artists, I mean, could it still be better? Yeah, but like at least here, artists don't get forgotten. Um, it's just
right.
it's beautiful.
We used to always say that though as kids because we would be like, I grew up like in high school or junior high being it's all about heavy metal. There's nothing but heavy metal, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest.
Yeah,
And then when that stuff died, it was like, yeah, but it's still big overseas. It's still big, right? It's like there was still a huge appreciation for it. The other thing too is kind of geographically, okay, like I just got off tour last week and we have to drive 6 to 8 hours between venues in Canada because it's so vast. So you
yeah,
start off in Calgary, maybe you do Edmonton, but then you're driving to Regina or Saskatoon, that's 8 or 9 hours, and then you're driving 6 to 9 hours to Winnipeg because there's zero in between. There's not
yeah.
one real venue that I'm aware of from, like, say, Regina to Winnipeg.
No,
Um,
probably
I mean,
not.
there is. I mean, maybe Yorkton, Saskatchewan, and you can get and especially like if you're doing maybe the cover thing, there's maybe a casino in there or something, and that type of thing. But yeah, it's not like it is where you are. I've always, like I say, I have a friend in Bristol, and I'm hoping to do some shows out in that area because it's just like, yeah, we can get these venues and not have to be like that's the other, with all the insomnia, all the issues, all the mental health that you're trying to figure out on tour, right? And having to do these crazy long drives and be up in the morning. I mean, I sound like a complainer, but it just kills you,
No,
right?
no. I mean, it's tough on your body. It's tough on your brain. Like, I, and that's, and that's the thing. I mean, touring by itself is difficult enough, but with those long, long journeys between, and
Oh yeah,
if you
yeah,
guys are driving yourself, and I mean, even if you're
yeah.
not, but it's like, well, how do you deal with that yourself? Like, do you have any secrets?
I've kind of have a system. Yeah, I have a system over the years. I used to just go right into it and it was like, holy cow. I do bring a yoga mat. I try to do yoga every day when I'm on the road. I drink a lot of turmeric tea because I can get inflamed so bad. We're in blues bars, okay?
Right.
We're in bars that often have cockroaches. It's low down, right? There's stuff like it's cool. I love that. I wouldn't change that. I could die a blues man. I'd be very happy.
Yeah.
There's lots of shots. The bartender is always sending you shots. Here's some more Jaeger. Here's some more. What do you want, right? And you're getting going, and it's like, yeah, you got the energy. You have this adrenaline. You can't sleep. I don't know anybody that can sleep. I have friends that are in household name bands. They don't sleep on the road. That's one thing that I've come to grips with. I was always trying to find a way to sleep. How am I going to sleep? Well, fuck sleep. You don't sleep. Okay, it's just the way it is. You're too hyped up, and
Mm-hmm.
it's fine to not sleep, right? I have like mantras that I have to think about. I drink, a lot of water. There's just mental health is a big thing. You're trying to, well, for me, I'm wearing all the hats. My other band's basically not even on social media, the rest of the band rather. So I'm
Yeah.
booking shows. If I have shows booked, I'm stressed. If I don't have shows booked, I'm stressed. I can't win, right? It's just like coming to grips with it. It's all that stuff. You have to be, you're basically like an outlaw in
Yeah.
those times. And you have to try to somewhat take care of yourself, even if you're just doing it 10%, it's better than not doing it, right?
Yeah. Or completely going and sabotaging yourself.
Yeah, well,
It's,
that's the other thing, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we
well,
don't want to do that. I mean, all of us are trying to be as professional as we can, but it is one of those things that it is on the top of all of our minds that, how do we do this and not go completely insane? And nothing beats, I mean, this is so cliche. Everyone's going to tell you this anyway, because it is what it is. You put out your music, you like that and everything. And when someone gets turned on by it, I mean, oh my God, it's the best feeling. And when you're in a different city that you're not playing at, that you've invited your friends and relatives, and you see them singing along to your songs, it makes every single body pain and mental pain worth it by a million, by far. We just played Saskatoon, and in the
yeah.
middle of Saskatchewan. For your viewers that don't know Canada, look at a map. It's in the middle of pretty much nowhere, kind of. And it was seeing the crowd sing along to some of the songs I've written, like "Born on the Wrong Side of Town" and "Got to Push" and "Take Me Home." They're kind of BTO style songs. Not trying to say I'm BTO, Bachman Turner Overdrive, but there's a hook in there that just gets repeated in the chorus, right? So anybody could be watching and then start singing along, and we're just sitting there going, "This is amazing! This is so much community, so much vibe." Going back and
Yeah.
forth, and that's so exciting. So for that reason, I don't need to sleep. I don't need to care as much, but you do have to, take some steps to make yourself from completely falling apart for sure.
Yeah. Because eventually that adrenaline does run out.
Right, right. Or does
So,
it? I don't know.
I mean, I think it does, but like when you're done, then your body's like, we're done. I,
Oh God, yeah. No, no. When you get home after it's all done, it's like there's a couple days where you're just like, wow, this is. I mean, you feel complete, and then it's
yeah.
just relaxation and really getting back to a normal life, right? That way,
Yeah. How do
whatever
you?
you consider normal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You know what? It's something I've probably talked about before on other episodes, but finding what's normal for you, it's a great thing. Even if it's not normal for society and everything else,
Sure.
if it's for you. And I think accepting that you can have like different schedules and,
Right.
do things totally differently, it's really nice. It's really nice. It doesn't mean that you have to
There's
be a
a
5 a.m. wake up person. You don't have to do that.
more like a go to bed at 5 a.m. person.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like I say, we're preserving rock and roll. That's how I feel, whatever the hell that means. By just going out there and doing it and living in the ditch. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm very happy when it all comes down and everything's done and it's put aside. I can sit there and say, oh my God, I'm living my best life. Actually, that's how I feel. With all the woes that you get, it's still at the end of the day, that's how it feels.
And so that kind of shows that you found kind of your purpose in life, really, because you're totally fulfilled
It's
doing it. even when
It,
it's really hard,
it's
you
made a
will.
big difference. Yeah. Yeah. It's supposed to be hard, nothing's supposed to be
Yeah.
easy. It's supposed to be a struggle. Sometimes you get lucky and it just goes completely your way, but there's always a struggle on stage, especially and booking gigs and showing up on, here and doing all this and driving on these crazy Canadian highways, especially in the middle of winter. Oh my goodness. But at the end of the day, like I was always I mean, I must have been all through my 20s and 30s just saying, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. And it was so annoying. It was like, you're not, I never did it. I never did anything. And at least I'm doing it, whatever the hell that means. At least I feel like I'm doing it, right? I don't
Yeah.
have a yacht. I'm not driving around in a fancy motorhome, but I'm
Hmm.
absolutely doing it. And I'm living the way I want to live that way, which is exciting to me or fulfillment, that way for me.
Yeah. I don't know. Knowing you, I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel like yacht is your measure of success, right?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Oh, really?
If I get a yacht, I'll feel complete.
Really? Okay. Well
I have a
then,
song. That being said, I have a song from my album Unknown Man from a couple years ago called "Sinking Ship." So maybe I don't want a yacht.
mm, no, no, self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't want that,
There you go. Right. I
right?
don't
And
want
you're
to
saying you
manifest that one.
manifest.
Oh, I know, and I'm booked on a cruise at the end of January. I don't want to jinx that.
No. Oh my God. Okay. Well, forget about the sinking. Tell us about the cruise
Yeah.
because it's iconic.
Okay. So like my bet. Yeah. Yeah. We're doing the Chris Jericho Rock and Wrestling in the UK. People really really love the wrestling, especially. I mean everywhere, but especially there. And we're doing Jericho's Rock and Wrestling cruise, and this time it's from Miami to the Dominican Republic. So we're doing that at the end of January, and January 31st it sets sail. And then we just booked a gig in Miami for January 30th as well, which will be the first time
Oh,
that we're basically playing in the U.S. outside of the cruise. So it's pretty exciting. And this will be the sixth time again that we're doing this. And I grew up with Chris, so there's a bit of nepotism there. But he is a big fan of our band. He's always been a biggest fan of my music. I would always send him originals and lyrics, and he was always into it, right? Um, so that's exciting. Yeah. So we're doing that for the sixth time, and very excited, the four of us, to be going down there. It's a real blast. It's a real big party, and there's some monster musicians there and wrestling, right? And comedians too. It's a big entertainment thing.
it's kind of like the trifecta of cool. Everything all together. Is it
It's
you
all
know what?
there.
And I don't
Yeah.
know. Is it mostly Canadian artists that go, or lots of Americans
No,
too?
no, yeah, I think we're the only Canadian band. I'm positive, actually. Some of the wrestlers, because wrestling is very big in Western Canada, I know of a few that are going. The comedian is Brad Williams, who's from the USA, and most of the bands are all, yeah, 100% from the States. Yeah,
Oh, so cool though.
yeah,
I'm sure. And how long is the
yeah.
cruise?
It is 3 days. So we set sail on
Nice.
Friday, January 31st, and then we're back on, I think, the Monday morning after that kind
Oh,
of thing. Yeah,
nice.
yeah. It's a
That'll be.
great thing. It's so cool. It's like they have really nice venues inside that we play at, and then sometimes we play outside on the big, huge pool deck, which is like playing to half a football stadium type, feel. And you see the water and the waves and the wind blowing on you, and you're playing, and it's very exciting. And they have a fantastic sound crew there. Oh my God, it's really dialed in for sure.
Oh,
It's the same
nice.
people that do the Kiss cruise. It's the same people that do the blues cruise, the country cruise, outlaw cruise, all that stuff.
Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah, that then they're gonna be good. Absolutely.
Yeah, sixth man. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
That'll be really exciting. Oh my gosh. What do you have any other
Yeah.
shows upcoming or new releases
When
or
we,
anything?
yeah, yeah, I'm doing some solo shows coming up soon. So my half of my band lives in Winnipeg. I live in Calgary, and I just kind of use that for when we're going on little tours and stuff, right? So we
Yeah.
all meet up for that. We won't be going out again in Canada or the US until probably maybe even May or something. So we'll take a little bit of sabbatical that way, and I'll do some solo stuff after this
Nice.
run in Miami, kind of thing. Yeah. So it's we'll figure it out though. We're all hyped to always keep playing for sure, and I do stuff locally here in Calgary too, that way just to keep busy in the meantime or in the studio and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be amazing. And do you have new music coming out soon too?
I do. I do. It's back to
Ooh.
my whole thinking about the past and how life sucks today. I have a new song that we've demoed. We're basically we're ready to. I probably won't put it out till maybe the summer next year, but it's called Dead Mice and Mosquitoes.
Oh,
Drink it all away. And it's just kind of like just every line starts with dead mice and mosquitoes, and I'm going broke again. Dead mice and mosquitoes, I'm getting drunk again, or whatever. It's my first real drinking song, but it really is just about, I'm not condoning drinking. It's more like I'm just kind of comparing it to, hey, just forget about it. Forget about it, and just move on and stay positive about anything, right? So it's called Dead Mice and Mosquitoes bracket. Drink it all away bracket, and we're really excited about it. It's got a kind of really cool riff, and I think it's got some really interesting lyrics that are gonna let people think for sure, or get people to think.
when is that coming out?
I would say that I would be doing that in late spring, early summer. I'm not in any rush with that. We put out four recently in the past year. I have another like I kind of go back and forth from this rock and roll thing to a almost like my idol, which would be Neil Young, I guess, with some gun to the head, and he would do the Crazy Horse stuff, and then he would do Harvest. So I have a couple songs that are more in the Harvest category or the John Prine, type acoustic guitar sound. But
Yeah.
Dead Mice and Mosquitoes is a rocker. It's probably
It's a
one of the
heavy
heavier songs
hitter.
I've written in many years. Yeah, it's a heavy
Oh,
hitter. Right?
I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah.
though.
So I mean, we're all yeah, I mean, it's going to be I mean, it's an interesting riff, and I've been told that I've been sending it out to some of the people I really trust in the business, and I think it's going to be a good one for us. So I'm super excited, but I don't want to just put it out. I want to do it right. I'm going to figure out
Yeah.
how to do that.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think personally, that's half the battle too, is making sure you release it properly. And I don't know. I talk to a lot of people
Yes.
about this actually, about how I see far too many bands go silent and then suddenly, like late night on a Wednesday, they're going to be like, "Oh, by the way, we have a new song out on Friday," and then that's
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
And you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"What?" And then nobody sees it, and then they wonder, why did it not get any streams? And it's like,
Exactly.
well,
Yeah. And that's the whole learning curve of this whole thing. I've
it's
tried it that
tough.
way. I've thought, oh, I'll just throw this out. And yeah, you have to, you got to have the audience, which we definitely have grown to get. And then you just have to do it properly. And it's just not the
Yeah.
right time either. I just always have a sense of
No.
time with stuff. I feel like it's just the moon is not in the right place right now to even put it out, but it's gonna come, and it's
Oh yeah.
exciting. And I had Ryan and Tanis play on it 2 weeks ago when they were visiting, which is really cool. Usually Greg and I are doing the parts, but it's nice to have them back in the studio, especially just to give it that, alchemy of friendship, and just I think you can hear that. I can hear that, in the
Yeah.
changes. So
I think it does come through in recordings, and I think
yeah,
so.
yeah, you can't fake it. People see it when it's faked. I mean, not that I would compare myself to these people, but I really love country music,
Mm.
and it's something that I don't think I always loved. I remember being out of high school where it was new country, and I didn't really understand it. But then when I heard George Jones and Tammy Wynette and Billy Joe Shaver, and none of that stuff is fake. Give me a break. Like these people ruined their lives for their art, if they wrote the song or not, right? It's like they
Yeah.
lived it, and you can't. There's no like, and that's what I think really turns me on about it. Besides their fantastic voices, is um, man, is this real, right? And today there's a lot of stuff that absolutely isn't real. Everything's changed that way. There's a real generic produced studio sound that can make me barf on the spot,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's
This is
everywhere,
it.
right?
And
Yeah,
finding something that sounds unique. Oh my God, it is. It's really really
Yeah,
hard. It's and you're
it's
right.
hard.
Like, I don't know.
What would Waylon do? You know,
Even we were
it's
talking about some of just like the pop girlies right now, and they all sound the same. And like, you know what? I know
right.
you want to go back to the 60s, fine. Everybody wanted to be the Beatles, and you can get that. But they all still
Sure.
sounded differently. And in a way, they still, they sounded different. I mean, nobody sounds like the Beatles, right? But you can see that they were
Right.
all
Right.
trying to do that. Right now, everybody wants to be Taylor Swift. And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
it's so weird though. And you're right, a lot of it does come down to
Yeah.
production and things like that, how the whole albums or how the singles are being put together. It's like,
I guess I feel that way. I don't think that the I don't, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people from my or your generation that are, obsessed with that type of music would feel. I don't know if the younger generation understands I can smell it,
yes,
the warmth of a microphone in front of an amplifier. I, that's one big part of even me with the band is that I can, Greg and I from Iowa, we just sit there and go, yeah, that's an electronic drum. That's a AI. That's a artificial thing. That's a Kemper, whatever it is.
mm,
Oh, you can't tell. I can tell. There's something about it. I need to hear the breathing of it,
yeah.
and maybe maybe a furnace kicks in the background, and it's like that. I like that. That's a big
Yes,
thing.
i
But
think I think maybe it's like, I'd say probably my son's generation. It's one,
right,
they have not, now they're getting back into it, but they never really went for physical media. So that's one thing where they're not
right,
listening the same that we used to listen growing up. And also,
right.
I think everything has been so overly sanitized in production, in mixing. And so,
Yeah.
like, honestly, I'm sorry, but I'm saying sorry to my son, but some of the stuff that he plays me, it sounds like shit. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. I
what
know.
is
I know. I
this?
feel the
Like,
same way. I mean, I like that I like that it moves the kids. It's great because that's the part of it. It's the emotional thing, and they're all, especially the Swifties. They're feeling. And I don't. I mean, I don't even listen to her, so I can't even comment. To be honest, I'm sure
I
she's
am a
really good.
Swiftie.
I've heard she's original, but yeah. But just that. And I shouldn't even mention her in the produced sound, but I just I don't think people get it. But as long as it moves them, who cares? I guess at the end of the day, that's important.
Yeah.
But for me, absolutely, I want to hear this certain thing, and sometimes we drive ourselves nuts, bands like us recording music, because we obsess over a snare hit for like 3 months long, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
does anybody else even care, right? That's a big thing, but hasn't it always kind of been like that in a way? Like it went from the '70s, which it was
Mm,
such a anthem songs, such like Along the Watchtower and all the early '60s, and all these big
yes.
anthem style songs and the Beatles and then it went into this, new wave thing, which is also very cool and it meant something to people and that's a really good thing too. But there's the old electronic drums and all the other stuff that wasn't as
But they made them
mic'd, I
cool, though.
guess. Right. Oh God, yeah, absolutely. We played with a band in Winnipeg last Saturday called the Don Waynes, and they're just freaking fantastic with that sound. They got it dialed
Cool.
in completely, and little leather black ties, white shirts, and they're just ripping. It was super cool.
Oh my God, I love that. I was thinking too,
Yeah.
okay, like, because apparently I'm telling everybody that I know right now, but I just finished Roger Daltrey's book and I'm just finishing Pete Townsend's book. Okay. And then I'm
Okay.
thinking here, going, okay, is it just that like our parents don't get didn't get our music and their parents didn't get their music? Is it like now we just don't get,
Yeah.
it's a my generation kind of thing? and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I'm like, maybe that's it. And some, some of the stuff that Dimitri plays me, my son, it's so, some of it's actually really cool. I'm like, this is like weird and different, and I like it.
Yeah,
But some of it, I'm
I'm
like,
sure
it
it is a
just
bit of
sounds
that.
painful.
Yeah, yeah, right. No, I'm sure it is some of that, right? It's like when my parents were young, it was Elvis Presley, and that it was such a big thing. And then
Yeah,
when, Motley Crue put out "Shout of the Devil," there's no way my parents got it. Like they
right.
got blue suede shoes or whatever. Like there's no way, right? And they would have judged that, I'm sure, back
Yeah.
then. And maybe we are doing that in a bit. And as a musician, I try not to, but I guess just my earworm, I guess is what you call it, or whatever, is like gravitating towards, more of an organic rock thing. But of course, I love everything anyway,
Mm,
and it's great just to see young kids get turned on by it, whatever it is. But there is something going on where there's like a in that production, and I can't really explain it, but it's kind of
yes.
so digital, and not
Uh,
everybody can understand the difference between the analog and the digital, I think.
yes, and that's true. Yeah, that's really true. I keep saying to him, like some of the CDs, because they're not mastered properly for streaming or whatever they've done. Some of his CDs sound like okay, but when he's
Yeah,
got it streaming, I said to him, it just sounds like somebody is like farting through your phone. It
right,
just
right.
sounds
Yeah, yeah,
horrible. And he's like,
right,
it's not, I'm like, it's not even to do with the volume. It's just to do with somebody didn't do their job here. Okay. like,
right, right. Yeah, and it's also like there's such a great indie scene, I believe,
mm,
especially where you are, and where I am a
yes.
bit too, in areas of the U.S. And that's like kind of where, to me, that's where the real music is more, maybe. And I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. But when you're writing emotionally like generated or songwriting, that's like emotional lyrics, I guess that's happening with the new generation. I would imagine it just might be
Yeah.
a little bit more straightforward and not hidden in a metaphor as much, maybe. I don't know.
I think in
Um,
some ways,
you know,
yes. There is a lot of that where it's just like straight up, I feel like shit and I want to die.
yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of stuff
Yeah,
instead of
I'm upset.
like,
My boyfriend and I broke up, or my girlfriend and I broke up. You think about like Neil Young, like you think about the song. What was the song? God, I'd almost need a guitar, but it's like uh, we've been through some things together. Long may you run, right? It's like
right.
long may you run, and you think he's singing about a girl. He's singing about his car. Like there's nothing going on like that. It seems as much where. I love that. I love that where things are hidden a little bit too, where you have
Yeah.
to actually think as a listener, or where you or you watch a small movie too. That's a big thing with country music, with George Jones and all these people I was discussing earlier. Like I can see a film when I listen to that music. I don't know if I would get that as much with the new pop music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's Powderfinger from Neil Young. Look out, mama, there's a white boat coming down the river. That's how it starts. And it's
Yeah.
like Civil War type lyrics, and you're like you can picture that immediately. Like there's no it's almost like he painted a huge big fat picture, and you
Yeah.
go, oh, that I can see it. I can see it. I can't just hear it. I can see it, which is very exciting. Or
Yes.
which I prefer or like.
And
I don't know.
but that, I mean, and that's it. And maybe we just don't tap into it the same way with some of the new stuff. But I love that too.
Right.
You go on a journey with the music that you listen to, and it
Yeah.
transcends time and space, and it takes you somewhere magical, or it
Yeah.
takes you, maybe it takes you somewhere dark, or maybe it takes you to a place of healing.
Yeah.
But no matter what, you are going on a journey with it. And that is like, it's the most special thing about music.
Yeah. Absolutely. And no matter how you take it or who it is listening, I'm sure that happens. But I would probably bet a lot of money on the fact that nobody's writing music as good as that today that takes you on that journey. I just think there was something different in the past. There really
I think
was. For one,
I
there was
think
no
so too.
Netflix. You know, Yeah, there was no Netflix. There was none of this other competition for your entertainment value. Like we would, as kids in Winnipeg growing up, we would wait in line for the next Metallica album, right outside overnight to see Robert Plant in 1993. At the time, my best friend and I, 91 for the when he went on tour for Now and Zen, sleeping outside in sleeping bags in minus 25 degrees Celsius to buy tickets first thing in the morning. All that stuff, like that's all gone. There's no Sam the Record Man anymore. There's no record on wheels. You don't get up in the morning and camp out for a record. It's instant gratification. Um, some people don't care about music. That's a big thing that I'm finding too. It's like, hey, there's a show going on, whatever, this band, have you listened to this? No, but have you watched this on Netflix, on Crave TV? And it's like, wow, that never was there before, right? It was,
Yeah.
you would line up for the movie theater. E.T. is showing at 7 p.m. and Ride the Lightning's coming out tomorrow at 11 a.m. or something, right? It's
Yeah.
incredible how things have changed for everybody. And is that a good thing? I don't know
I
if it's a good thing for art, you know?
I do think people have devalued music in many ways because, you can listen to it for free on Spotify or whatever. And I like using Spotify to like discover new music,
Yeah,
to check out if I want to buy an album, or using things or like listening in my car, right? When I'm driving,
yeah, yeah,
because everybody's like CD players, no. And so, you
right,
know,
yeah,
but I like doing that, but I still buy a lot of albums, like, because it's important
yeah.
to
Good for
me.
you. Yeah, yeah. I
I
stopped.
think,
Yeah. That's no. It's good to do that, and a lot of music fans still do that. They still will buy the CDs on the show, although I don't know where they're playing them anymore. Right? Like the cars haven't been manufactured with a CD player in a decade now. That's the
yeah,
truth, or more. Right? It's hard to find that. And but I like Spotify too. I love it. Like I can sit there and listen to outlaw country and then have it just take over and show me other outlaw country. I've always loved that kind of stuff. And it's great as an artist to promote on it, and it's a cool thing that way. It's an absolute ripoff to the artist. I've written songs about it. I have a song called King is Dead that I put out in 2016, and it's loosely based on Elvis Presley, but it's also just based on the state of music today and everything. Rock and
mm,
roll is dead. It's just not for the people anymore. Meaning, I have a friend, and this is years ago that so I'm coming from a place from 5 or 7 years ago. I had a friend out in the forest area, kind of lives at a cabin. I said, AC/DC's playing next weekend. He goes, well, I can't afford to go to that. I'm like, wow, how come? Well, they're $250 a ticket. And this is a long time ago. I can't afford that. And yet this guy's the biggest AC/DC fan on the planet, but he can't go. Rock and roll's dead. It's just not for the people anymore, right? It kind of sucks just how some of the biggest fans in the world are not able to enjoy their favorite bands when the front row of an Eagles concert is full of celebrities and rich people that may not even know more than 5 songs or give a shit. But they're
yeah,
just there for the outing, right? And that's a big thing. I was taking on Ticketmaster 7 years ago with that.
yeah. No, and it's so true though. Oh my God, we talk about we talk about that a lot. Where like people just pay for the experience. They just pay to be up front, drinking wine, to say we were there, take a selfie in the hit
Yeah,
song. Like those
sure. Yeah,
girls at Alanis, I'm just gonna say it again. Those girls at Alanis, what were you guys doing? I had my front
right,
row seat
right.
because I had been waiting 25 years to see Alanis.
Yeah,
and and
yeah,
then the
yeah.
four people down from me spent time mostly at the bar, bringing back their bottles of wine and whatever, and then yelling at each other, talking about Jill in accounting. And I'm like, just go
Right,
away.
right. Oh, Jill.
I
She's
know,
the worst.
God, Jill. Yeah.
That's funny. I I see it outside of music too. I'm a big baseball fan. I always have been, which is also rare in Western Canada. And I
Mm-hmm.
was watching, I guess, maybe the game 4 of Dodgers and Yankees, and there was like this couple that were behind the back catcher you kept seeing on TV constantly. And at one point, in the seventh inning, all they were doing is looking at their phones. It was like, are you kidding me? You probably paid 15,000 US for those seats each. Okay. And you're not even
No.
giving a shit about that game. And I'm sitting there going, I would love to be there. I'm also comfortable at home, watching, but still, you know what I'm saying? It's like they're just there for the show. It's like, hey, Instagram, TikTok, blah, blah, blah. Gross.
Yep. And I mean, okay, don't get me wrong too, because I love taking photos at shows and like taking
Sure.
some videos and stuff. But like I'm there. Girl, I am
Yes.
there. Like
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
kind of thing. Oh, I've been I've been
Yeah. There's a
torturing
balance there.
myself.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, it's I mean
Yeah, I get
it's
it. We video things all the time, but I'm still there. These two were not there. Like this was a real pinnacle part of the game that was nail biting for everybody else, and these two could have cared less. And it just shows you the state of how it is, right? It's like the rich just can get whatever the hell they want, and they're not even real fans, just so they can wear the T-shirt and say I was at blah blah.
yeah.
It's a really crazy world.
Yeah, that's crazy. We were
They
lucky
take a photo
because
and they
yeah, no, and I know. And I mean, yeah, I'll take my photos, but then I wait for days.
yeah.
But
Yeah, those
it's
two were posting and counting their likes the whole time that there was a big part of the game going on.
oh,
Like, get a like, get a life.
yes. Oh my God. We I don't know. I was really lucky that we got to go see ACDC and Bruce Springsteen this summer, but we got in for really cheap
Nice.
last minute. So um
Right. Yeah, good
so
stuff.
I mean it was great. I think we paid for two tickets, I don't know, £70 for the both of them.
Yeah, great.
And
Yeah.
so it was like yeah, it was really nice, but it's so different here. There are shows that are like really kind of crazy with the dynamic pricing thing, which is kind of just coming in here. Um,
Yeah.
but it's shows are affordable for people here. And I mean, some
Oh,
of them are
okay.
like a
Yeah.
bit outrageous, but
Yeah.
other, okay, maybe not for like, let's say Billie Eilish. Um,
Yeah.
let's say like Tyler the Creator, which I'm taking my son to in May. That was
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Those were crazy tickets. Um,
Yeah.
those are the ones I can think of right now, but generally,
Yeah.
everything's
No,
quite
I hear you. I think
affordable.
there's I think that here it's not brutal. I think you could get to a Springsteen concert for 150 each Canadian, but it's those people that are in the first 15 rows that drive me
Yes.
mad. They're the ones that, no matter where you are, those are still the craziest expensive tickets, and they're not always the fan. And that's just something that I've always noticed for a long time, where it's like, wow, oh, you went to the Eagles, you went to see blah, blah. It's like, whatever, you couldn't even
Yeah.
name me one song. It's just, yeah.
No, it's true though.
This has
We,
been so negative. I love this.
well, sometimes you just need a venting moment. I don't know.
I love
I've,
venting.
see, but it's therapeutic. I've been
Yes.
working on this blog post for like weeks that I have not posted because I'm like, I might sound like a jerk, but it's all about concert etiquette and things like that. Like not
Right.
talking about
Sure.
Jill and accounting at the show, no matter where your seats are,
Right.
not hitting
Right.
people in the
Yes.
head.
Yeah.
I want you to have
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
time, but I don't want to be hit in the head by you. Um,
Yeah.
you know, filming on your phone like this,
Yeah.
uh, we can film like this, but when we've got it
Yeah.
above everything, there's things like that. Um,
I
yeah.
completely understand. I see it in the small blues bars throughout Western Canada and the venues, and you'll have a real great artist that really believes he's real, totally him or her real, and they're up on stage. And then you have a group of 15 come in and talk about their office or something or work, and they're just so loud. And it's like, oh
It's
my God, is
Jill.
this what it's come to? It's crazy. This guy's singing about his dead mother, and you guys are freaking talking about the water cooler talk from Friday, right? It's
Yep.
insane. The nice thing is with our four piece, we can just turn it up, just turn the volume up and drown it out anyway. But if you're up there,
Yeah.
and I have been up there with an acoustic guitar telling your story, and good Lord, it's like wow, just. But that's the way, again, I mean, we can't change that. You and I can't change that. But there should be an etiquette. I believe that. I love that. I love the rants about that. It's a good thing.
Yeah. No, it's true. Oh, there was another guy who once, this is my story. I went to see Blink 182 at X Fest one year, and
Yeah.
they went on stage. I mean, it was another awful show, but so I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to see, like, everybody was all hyped. I don't love them, but I was like, whatever. I'm like, I'm trying to think, who did I go there to see? I think it was Mother that I actually went there to see.
Oh,
Um,
cool. Yeah, yeah.
but so I'm like in the crowd, all was good, and I got pushed forward, and this guy fucking turns around and punches me in the stomach. Like, he looked me
Oh
in the
my
eye
God.
and just, pff, and there's another etiquette moment. Like, you are in a mosh
Well,
pit.
that's horrible.
You don't turn around
Yeah,
and punch me in the
yeah,
stomach. Like,
yeah. That's terrible. That's
it's
so shitty. Oh my God,
crazy.
that makes me angry even hearing that. That's terrible.
Right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
would never go to another one of their shows just for that. but
Wow. Oh
but
my
it's
God.
like, I mean, I probably wouldn't go anyway, but it's like, yeah.
Right.
But just crazy things like that. I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, that sucks. Sorry about that. That's terrible. My God, I would tune that guy up if I saw that. God.
But you know what? Here, people are generally very nice at shows. Sometimes they drink too much and they talk too much, but people are really
Yeah,
cool at shows here. And like, honestly,
yeah,
we need to get you over here with the band because everything, like, just the scene is so magical. Even like my boyfriend talks about
yeah.
how the scene here is like Boston was in the 80s. And
Oh, cool.
so
Right.
he's like, oh, it's so great. And, um, but we're still like that. And I'm sure even back
Yeah.
then it was even more intense and magical. But I don't know. I
I've
think,
always heard that, and a good 60-70% of our streaming is all from your area, funny enough. It's like that type of music didn't die there. We're not competing as much with, I mean, there is way more music fans there, in my opinion, and genuine music fans, right, that get turned on by it. And I see it on Chris's cruise too, because we do get a lot of people that come from overseas on the cruise. And there's a lot of, you get this story because I'm approachable. I'm out there with people. They come up and, chat with you. And that's one of the exciting things to do, right? It's just to meet with
yeah,
the audience. So we will, so let's announce our tour. We would
yes,
come out in a second for something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
good. We're going to plan for it. Maybe,
Yeah. Let's
maybe
do it.
next year we'll get you here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Let's
would just
do
be
it. Let's try
wild.
to do something like that. That'd be really cool.
It would be
Yeah.
so
It
much
would be
fun and
wild.
everybody would be excited. You just
Yeah.
tell me
Yeah. I
when
know.
and we're going to do it.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. I'll talk to the rest of the guys and we'll figure something out because we've been back and forth through this part of Canada so much, and we got some stuff to do in the east of Canada. But that has
Cool.
always been on our list is to get overseas for sure. With the style of music for sure.
Yeah, I think it would be highly appreciated here. It would be really good.
Well, we'll put on a hell of a show for you.
Good. So, well, if people want to find you and follow you,
Yeah,
online, not stalking in person, where
yeah.
is the best place to find you?
I'd give you my home address, right? It's like, yeah, they could come visit me at. Um, Yeah, we're a very old school band. We're on AOL and MySpace. No, we're on. It's everywhere. You can find me, Dave Spivak Project, the DSP Dave Spivak Project. Everywhere. Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and X, Twitter, all those places that we're definitely. Yeah, we're all over there, so you can find us. Just put me in Google, and you'll see most of the stuff actually right there. I Google myself every day. No, that's. Do you remember Larry Sanders' show? Do you remember the Larry Sanders
Yeah,
show?
yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a mock talk show where he pretended to be a talk show. I always loved the bit
Yes.
where he would finish his show. He was like a David Letterman or a Johnny Carson, but it was all mock. It was all fake. It was so well done. I loved that show so much. And after he was done his show, he would lie in bed and watch the show. That's me. I just Google myself constantly.
Oh my God. I
It's a
think I
joke.
do it like once a year, to be honest, just to
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
check where
yeah.
all my stuff is and how things are going.
Right, right.
But damn,
If anybody said anything bad about, yeah, 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 that's a Larry Sanders bit, but
it's a good thing though. Well,
yeah.
honestly, I have absolutely loved having you on today, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. It has been a delight, and I can't wait to get you over here.
Yeah, let's work on something. And it's a pleasure. Honestly, that was really fun. It's just like it's like you're sitting here next to me and chatting. I love that. So very genuine, very easygoing, very cool.
Aw, thank you. Well, we will definitely have to have you back again to talk about, oh, what was it that we were going to talk about? Like, I can't remember now. Way at the beginning, but it was
Yeah.
something that we needed to have an episode two for.
We'll do another. Yeah, yeah. We need a part two, a sequel.
Yes. And it'll be wonderful. Whew. So, thank you
Yes.
again. And I can't wait to speak to you next time. Talk to
I
you
can't
soon.
wait either. Awesome. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast. If you're looking for more, head to healthymetalhippie.com and let's connect. Until next time, wishing you a magical week. See you later.